Nathy Odinson stood on the narrow ledge of a towering 29-story building, his heart racing with adrenaline. Below him, the sprawling cityscape of Hong Kong seemed to stretch on forever. The lights flickered in the dusk, casting an almost surreal glow over the streets below. Nathy was no stranger to this feeling, the heart-pounding thrill of stepping into the abyss, defying gravity with every fiber of his being. But this time, something felt different. As he prepared to leap into the void, he couldn't have known that this jump would be his last. With cameras rolling and his pulse thundering in his ears, he took a deep breath and launched himself off the edge. The initial rush of wind, the freedom of freefall, it was everything he lived for. But then, disaster struck. As Nathy reached for the cord to deploy his parachute, nothing happened. His lifeline had failed him in the most crucial moment. In that split second, Nathy's world collapsed. He was hurtling toward the ground with no way to stop. The nightmare every base jumper fears became his reality. In today's video, we're diving deep into the heart-stopping story of Nathy Odinson, the fearless British base jumper who lived life on the edge, chasing thrills and defying death at every turn. But on this one fateful jump, his parachute betrayed him. We'll explore how this moment of unimaginable terror unfolded and why a routine jump became a deadly fall. Stay with us as we unravel the story of a legend whose passion for life led him straight into the arms of tragedy. Nathy Odinson was no ordinary man. Born in 1990 in the bustling city of Manchester, England, he was the type of person who never accepted the ordinary. From a young age, his restless energy drove him to seek out adventure in every corner of life. He craved the rush that came with pushing limits, always searching for that next surge of adrenaline to make him feel truly alive. By the time he was in his 20s, Nathy had found his ultimate outlet, base jumping. It wasn't enough for him to simply skydive from planes at high altitudes. No, that wasn't daring enough. Base jumping, launching oneself from buildings, cliffs, and bridges at dangerously low heights, was where he found his calling. The danger was intoxicating, the risk of death ever present, and Nathy was hooked. To understand Nathy, you have to understand the extreme nature of base jumping. It is, without a doubt, one of the most dangerous sports on the planet. The acronym itself stands for the 4 types of fixed objects jumpers leap from: buildings, antennas, spans, bridges, and earth cliffs. Unlike traditional skydiving, where jumpers have thousands of feet to deploy their parachutes, base jumpers have seconds, sometimes less. One wrong move, one technical glitch, and the result could be fatal. And yet, for Nathy, the thrill was worth the risk every single time. As his skills grew, so did his reputation. Nathy quickly became a legend in the extreme sports world. Daring, bold, and fearless, he embodied everything it meant to be a base jumper. He traveled the globe, taking on increasingly dangerous jumps, sharing breathtaking footage of his death-defying feats with his growing fan base. His online presence exploded as people marveled at his audacity. But with every jump, the stakes got higher. By 2023, Nathy had jumped from countless cliffs, buildings, and bridges around the world. But the ultimate challenge lay ahead of him: the bustling, sky-high metropolis of Hong Kong. The city's towering skyscrapers and tight urban spaces made it a base jumper's dream and a nightmare waiting to happen. On that fateful day, Nathy stood atop a residential tower 300 feet in the air. Below him, the city buzzed with life, unaware of the tragedy about to unfold. His heart raced, his mind focused. This was just another jump. He'd done it all before. But this time, something would go terribly wrong. The jump started like any other. Nathy took one last deep breath, his heart pounding as he stepped off the ledge. The thrill was instant, the rush of free fall overwhelming his senses. For a few seconds, it was pure, unadulterated freedom, the kind of high that only a base jumper could know. But then came the horror. As Nathy reached for the cord to deploy his parachute, there was no reassuring tug. Nothing happened. A wave of panic crashed over him. He was falling fast, the ground rushing up to meet him, and his one chance of survival was failing. He tried again, frantically pulling at the cord, but still, nothing. His heart raced, his mind screamed. This couldn't be happening, but it was. His safety net, His last line of defense had betrayed him, and now he was plummeting to the earth with no way to stop. In the blink of an eye, Nathy's world came crashing down. Desperation gripped him as he realized he was out of time. The ground was closing in fast, and there was nothing left to do. The cameras captured everything: the terrifying fall, the frantic attempts to save himself, and then the brutal, heart-wrenching end. For those who knew Nathy, the news was shattering. How could someone so skilled, so experienced, be brought down by something as simple as a parachute failure? The loss was unimaginable. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that a critical malfunction had occurred. The pilot chute, the small parachute that pulls the main canopy open, had failed to deploy correctly. In base jumping, every second counts. At such low altitudes, there was no time to deploy a backup. Nathy had been left helpless in the face of catastrophe. The pain and devastation that followed were profound. His friends, family, and fellow jumpers were left grappling with the brutal reality of his death. How could someone so full of life, so fearless, be gone in an instant? The extreme sports community mourned the loss of one of its brightest stars. Nathy's death was a tragic reminder of the unforgiving nature of the sport he loved. It was a heartbreaking end to a life defined by pushing the limits of human endurance. But even in death, Nathy's spirit endures. He had lived more in his 33 years than most people do in a lifetime. His life was a testament to bravery, to the relentless pursuit of passion, and to the unyielding desire to experience life at its most intense. Nathy's final jump serves as both an inspiration and a warning. It shows us the power of chasing your dreams, but also the delicate line between thrill and danger. In the end, it was Nathy's unwavering courage and willingness to face the unknown that defined him. He wasn't just a man who sought out thrills. He was someone who lived life on his own terms, embracing every moment with intensity and purpose. Nathy Odinson's story is a reminder of the fragility of life and the price that sometimes comes with living it to the fullest. He flew higher, faster, and braver than most would dare. And while his final jump ended in tragedy, his legacy of fearlessness and adventure lives on in the hearts of those who admired him. He lived for the rush, for the moments that took his breath away, and in the end, he died doing what he loved most.